High above the town of Merrivale, where candy-colored rooftops shimmered in winter light, lived a green, fuzzy creature named Grumple. Nobody knew when he had arrived. Some said he crawled from the forest mist. Others whispered he had always been there, sulking behind the clouds. Grumple was not evil, but he was deeply allergic to joy. When the bells rang, his ears twitched. When children laughed, his fur bristled. And when the townsfolk sang cheerful songs under their lanterns, he growled so loudly that icicles trembled from rooftops. He lived inside a crooked tower carved from an old pine tree, stuffed with clocks that ticked out of rhythm and jars full of forgotten socks. Every morning he brewed bitter tea made from dried thistle and grumbled about the world's unnecessary happiness. One snowy evening, as the town prepared for the Festival of Lights, Grumple watched through his telescope. He saw glowing garlands, steaming cocoa, and people dancing. Ridiculous, he muttered. All that noise for flickering bulbs. An idea, sharp as an icicle, struck him. He would sneak down and turn off every single light before sunrise. Then, maybe, peace and quiet would finally return to Merrivale. That night, wrapped in his patchwork cloak, Grumple tiptoed through the snow. He snuffed out candles, blew on lanterns, and even unplugged the giant glowing star that crowned the town square. Darkness spread like spilled ink. But as he reached the last house, he heard something strange. Laughter, soft and genuine, floating through the dark. Inside, a little girl was lighting a candle with her grandfather. "Even if the lights go out," she whispered, "we'll still shine, right, Grandpa?" Grumple froze. No one had ever spoken words like that near him. Warm words that didn't sting his ears. Something inside his chest made a quiet crack. He tried to ignore it, but it grew louder, like a tiny heartbeat. Before he knew it, he was standing at the girl's window, candlelight glowing against his green face. She didn't scream, Dot, she just smiled and said, "You look cold. Want cocoa?" Grumple blinked. No one had ever invited him to anything. He stammered, "I don't do cocoa." "That's okay," she said. "You can just sit." So he did. For the first time, Grumple sat by a fire instead of grumbling at it. He watched the flames dance and felt warmth he couldn't blame on the heat. When he finally left, he carried something new, a feeling he couldn't name, light but heavy at once. The next morning, Merrivale woke to find every lantern relit, every candle glowing brighter than before. No one knew who had restored them, but from his tower, Grumple watched the sunrise and smiled. A small, shy curve of his mouth, almost invisible under his green fur. Days turned into weeks, and every night he found himself creeping down, not to steal light, but to add it, fixing bulbs, mending decorations, and leaving tiny gifts of pine cones carved into little hearts. The townsfolk began to speak of a mysterious green helper. Children left cocoa cups by their doors, and Grumple secretly drank them all, declaring, "Not bad," for sweet nonsense. On the eve of the next Festival of Lights, Merrivale's mayor announced, "To whoever keeps our lights shining, thank you." The crowd cheered into the starry sky. High on his hill, Grumple covered his face with his cloak to hide the sudden warmth in his eyes. He realized the strangest thing. The sound of joy no longer hurt. It hummed inside him like a new melody. From that day, Grumple no longer hid. He still grumbled, of course, about the weather, about sticky cocoa cups, about bells ringing off key. but every complaint carried a smile beneath it. And sometimes when the snow fell softly and lanterns shimmered against the night, the people of Merrivale would glimpse a green shadow strolling down the hill, carrying a lantern of his own, glowing brighter than all the rest. Moral: even the coldest heart can warm a whole town when it learns that light shared is never lost.